Hey, what's up, Logos American History students? It is Wednesday, June 24th, 2020, day 62 of our e-learning experience overall. It is midterm for term 6. That's right, midterm grades are coming out today. Hard to believe we're already halfway through term 6, but here we are at midterm. So that's good news and bad news. Good news, we're almost done, right? With term 6 and with the 2019-2020 school year. It'll be coming to an end before we know it. That's the good news. Bad news, if you haven't been keeping up with the work, your midterm grade might not be where you want it to be, but more good news, it's just a midterm grade. Midterm grade is just a progress report. It doesn't show up on your transcript or anything. You still got time to bring that midterm grade up before it gets to a final grade, right? But if your midterm grade's pretty good, just know the opposite can happen, right? Don't slack off now, right? We got a little over 3 weeks left in the term. We want to keep it rolling so that our final term grade is as high as possible, right? And how do you earn points in this class? Well, there's really 3 ways to do it. Let's take a look at Blackbaud, right? If we get out of here and go to our Blackbaud, we see on the bulletin board, right, the e-learning instructions. And these right here are going to tell you what you need to do for this class to get a good grade, right? The first thing mentioned, tomorrow we have a Zoom meeting, 11 a.m. That's an easy way to earn points to improve your grade. All you got to do is log in and show up. You don't got to talk. You don't have to share your video. You just got to log in and boom, you get some participation points to bring your grade up. More than that, you get some great instruction from me and Johnny White. You also have a question of the day, which we talk about every day on here, right? Contributing to that. Again, very easy way to boom, bring your grade up, get yourself some free points. All you got to do is contribute. There's no right or wrong answer. It's what you think. And then the reading from the textbook and the questions to go along with it, right? Those are daily readings. Along with some reading comprehension questions. You do those 3 things, you get a good grade. It's pretty simple, pretty straightforward, right? So let's take a look at, scroll back up here to our tabs. Let's look at our topics tab. See the topic we've been working on, Reagan, right? I love this poster of Reagan, right? It's in the textbook, right, when we were reading section 1. But it's just, I remember seeing this a couple years ago when Trump was running, he first debuted the big red hats with the Let's Make America Great Again, and then I saw this in the textbook. I'm like, that's fantastic, right? And really, Trump and Reagan are very different in many ways. But in other ways, I think President Trump has modeled himself after Ronald Reagan, right? Ronald Reagan, he does a lot of things. He doesn't do them as well as Ronald Reagan did them, in my opinion, but he tries to do things that Ronald Reagan did. We'll talk more about that, but let's look at the reading for today, because the reading for today, if we go back into our topics, and when you click on the topic, you can see the readings. This is where we have the readings. These downloads right here, and I mentioned we did Section 1 earlier in the week. Yesterday we did a Skills for Life, which is an interesting one on the Electoral College map, right, which is important with an election coming up this year. Mentioned Trump, he'll be running for re-election. But Section 2, if we click on the download for there, this is today's reading. You can see what the title of this section is, The Reagan Revolution, right? The Reagan Revolution. So he created a revolution, meaning a major change. Well, what's the major change? It's a major change in how the government is involved with the economy, right? When Franklin D. Roosevelt, during the Great Depression, started what came to be known as the New Deal, that was a revolution. And that was a revolution for the first time, the government got really involved in the economy. How does the government get involved in the economy? Well, there's really 2 major ways the government gets involved in the economy. Taxes, right? Collecting taxes that they can then use for whatever the government wants to use it for, whether it's building stuff or just giving payments directly to people that need it for food or housing or stuff like that, redistribution. So the government can control taxes, right? They can raise or lower taxes. And then they can also regulate the economy, right? They can create laws that, control how the economy does its thing, right? In Reagan's revolution, right, whereas FDR increased regulations and increased taxes, Reagan did the opposite, right? The Reagan Revolution is a counter-revolution to the New Deal. It's trying to roll back everything that the New Deal did. New Deal said the government's job is to make sure that, everyone is taken care of, and that, businesses are, making a fair amount of money, but making sure that the whole country is doing well, and the government, needs to control that. Reagan says government needs to get out of the way and let businesses do what businesses do, because no one knows business better than the businesses themselves. No one knows how to make money better than the richest, wealthiest Americans and corporations in America, right? And so if you want the economy to grow, if you want America to do better, if you want to make America great again, right, you need to leave businesses alone, leave individuals alone, let people keep their money, cut taxes, cut regulations. And that was a big part of the Reagan Revolution, especially when it comes to domestic policy. So there you go, it's changing the economy. Came up with something called supply-side economics. Supply-side economics, the idea is that if you cut taxes for the wealthiest Americans and the wealthiest corporations, they will have more money to then reinvest in the economy, hire more people, and that way everyone has more money. This is also known as trickle-down economics. The money, if you give the money to the wealthiest people at the top, that wealth will trickle down to all classes below. That's the theory, at least, right? And so that's what he did. He cut taxes, he cut regulations, and Reagan's whole, quote was, "Government is not the solution to the problems. Government is the problem." Kind of weird for the president to be saying that, the head of government, but it was a popular sentiment in the 1980s. We saw how, he was elected in a landslide victory, and he was reelected in an even bigger landslide. His foreign policy, at the time, he was cutting taxes, right? He increased government spending, right? So the government's bringing in less money in taxes, but they're spending more on a military buildup, right? He wanted to build up the military to win the Cold War. That was the idea. He wants to win the Cold War, defeat the evil empire. And so he spends all this money on building up the military that the government doesn't have, right? The government doesn't have any money because they've cut taxes, and so now they're spending a bunch of money they don't have, driving up the national debt, right? But he fought communism. We went into a recession. The national debt continued to increase. So again, it was kind of a mixed results as far as Reagan's economy. He was still very popular. But we do have some reading, some questions to go along with this reading. As always, those can be found embedded right here as Google Forms, but also under the Assignments tab, which is a mess right now. It's under revision, so I'm not even going to go to the Assignments tab. Just say on your Assignments tab, that's where you want to go to find the questions to go along with Chapter 26, Section 2, the reading for today. And then also that's where you'll find today's question of the day. So let's take a look. Let's go back to Reagan, who's making America great again. All right, making America great again. Hey, if you own one of those red hats, if you love that quote, good for you. You should look up Reagan, right? Because he was the first guy to say it. No, he wasn't. But he said it before Trump. But let's look at the question of the day. And again, this gets back to Reaganomics, right? Reagan's idea that, supply-side economics, trickle-down economics, we should cut taxes for the wealthiest corporations and individuals. But what do you think? Do you think the wealthiest corporations and individuals in America should pay more taxes? Do you feel like FDR, you say more taxes so the government can do more, right? Or do you think they should pay less taxes so that the economy can grow faster, right? Cut taxes so they have more money to put into the economy and the economy can grow faster. Or are you like Goldilocks? Are you like just right? Do you think taxes rates are just right? More taxes, less taxes, just right. Let me know what you think And make sure you answer those reading comprehensions, and look out for that Zoom meeting invite. Zoom meeting, I'll see y'all at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Peace.